Hello, everyone, and welcome. Good morning and good evening in India and Europe. Well, over 500 million people are living with diabetes all over the world, and approximately 1.5 million people die every year. Can you manage diabetes using natural therapies? Is there any evidence? Well, we are going to have a Q&A session on how Ayurveda can help. I am Amita from Nourish Talk, a platform for natural holistic therapies. Presenting this topic, we have Dr. Ish Sharma, professor and researcher in Ayurveda. Dr. Ish has done clinical trials on diabetes as well as on other ailments. He has successfully helped thousands of people manage and reverse diabetes. Welcome, Dr. Ish.
Thank you, Amita. Thank you so much.
Right. So this is a Q&A session. You are welcome to put your questions during the webinar as well. But what we'll do is we'll just put a little bit of a structure. We'll go through a small presentation. If you have questions in between, feel free to ask. But we will be going through the presentation in a very short amount of time and leave it for the questions. That's the intent. So very briefly, let's just start with a quick overview of Ayurveda and how it views diabetes.
Yeah, okay, Amita. Ayurveda is believed to be the most ancient healthcare system. This is not a pure medical system, rather, this is a healthcare system. That is, it has to do equally well for the healthy. Like, this is not meant for the patients only. This is the preventive medicine in first place. This advises how to stay healthy than curing the diseases. So prevention is surely much better than cure. Ayurveda has many unique principles which have not been copied by any other medical or healthcare system. Like, we have got the 5 elemental theory, Vata Pitta Kapha Tridosha theory, mind qualities, that is Triguna theory. Then we have got Prakriti, that is the most powerful concept from Ayurveda is your individual body type. This is coming up so well, and this beholds all the future of the medicine and healthcare. Then we have got preventive medicine. There are herbs. We have got panchakarma, and we have got phytoceuticals, or we have got the herbal medicine for all the disorders. Now, if we detail each one of them, this really could take too long. We'll be simply moving to the next slide. That is what Ayurveda has got to say about diabetes. Did Ayurveda know about diabetes? Very well. Very interestingly, if you translate the word diabetes, the term diabetes came up roughly around 2000 years back, and the word madhumeha, which is exact translation to diabetes mellitus, came up 10,000 years back from Ayurveda. So the Ayurveda term madhumeha and diabetes mellitus, they are actually translation only. So Ayurveda very well knew about diabetes, and very interestingly, the modern classification of diabetes, that is type 1, type 2, Ayurveda very well knew about this classification and has classified diabetes as type 1 and type 2, what Ayurveda calls sahaj and animittajanya. That is, the one which you are born with is type 1, and the one which you develop later on when you are like 40, 50, that is type 2. Very interestingly, all the etiology, sign and symptoms, genetic makeup, genetic involvement, all are so matching regarding this classification. Ayurveda has got a fresh take upon diabetes. That is, it considers all the urinary disorders to be one kind of diabetes mellitus. There are 20 in all, and all the 19 eventually convert to the 20th type, which is diabetes mellitus, and then it becomes incurable. The symptoms, Ayurveda is very clear. The symptoms for diabetes mellitus are not many. There is one symptom only, that is voluminous and turbid urination. If you are having excessive urination and the urine is turbid in appearance, that is the only symptom for diabetes mellitus as per Ayurveda. If you go by the other symptoms like polyphagy, polydipsia, polyuria, that is a lot of hunger, lot of thirst, lot of urination, etc., weakness, infections, all those premonitory symptoms and complications have very well been explained by Ayurveda. But when it comes to symptoms, Ayurveda is very clear and very brief. That is, excessive urination with turbidity is the sign q non, is the most important sign for diabetes mellitus. So Ayurveda really knew very well, and Ayurveda has given a special attribute to diabetes, where it declares diabetes mellitus does not come to go away. This would never go away. This is so stubborn. This would stay with you forever. And with great efforts, you really can keep it at bay. You can get rid of it if you have got a very ideal lifestyle. That is why Ayurveda offers you one hope, that you can reverse your diabetes or you can control it to practically being diabetes free through Ayurveda principles. So really, Ayurveda has got a lot to deliver to the diabetes patients. Yes,
right. Moving on, I think we just want to focus on the management part. I think that's what most of the viewers want to hear. How do we manage? And then talk a little bit about your clinical studies that you've done.
Perfect. So why should we go for the Ayurveda way of diabetes management? Why don't we take just one chemical pill and we keep our blood monitor telling that your sugar levels are within normal limit? The problem is diabetes mellitus is going to damage your kidneys within like 10-20 years. And the same will be delivered by your diabetes medicines, your OHA, oral hypoglycemic agents, or your anti-diabetic medicines will damage your kidneys, and diabetes will damage your kidneys. So your kidneys are taking a double blow, one from diabetes and another from the diabetes treatment. That is why you have to find a solution, you have to find an alternative to the chemical management of diabetes mellitus. That is where Ayurveda comes in place, and we have got four protocols. We have got four parameters through which we can deliver the treatment. One is diet modification, the most important, because diet is the everyday medicine you are taking. This is very powerful. The second is lifestyle management. Among lifestyle management, we suggest more and more physical activity and controlled stress or eustress or like stress management. That is very, very important. Regarding lifestyle modification, Sushruth from Ayurveda, one Ayurveda guru, Sushruth, has very clearly told, if you prefer to stay than walking, if you prefer to sit down than standing, if you prefer to lie down than sitting, and you prefer to sleep than being awake, then you are going to be a diabetic in future. That is, if you have got an aversion to physical activity, you are inviting diabetes mellitus in coming years. So diet management is number one treatment we deliver. Lifestyle management is number two, where more physical activity and stress management are the cornerstones. Then herbs, there are a few anti-diabetic herbs, and the most important are we are going to discuss very soon. Lastly, we have got a treatment principle called panchakarma. Over the years, we keep accumulating a lot of toxins. Toxins would be circulating into your body, and they can settle into any organ, into your lungs or heart or brain or skin or anywhere, or pancreas giving you diabetes. So panchakarma detoxification can be taken periodically by diabetics to keep their body detox and their diabetes under control. So these are the four deliverables which we execute for a patient of diabetes mellitus.
So these are, I think, your small diet modifications. If you wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Maybe, diet modifications are very important. The most important principle is small frequent meal. A diabetic should be taking very small frequent meals, which could be like he or she could be eating very small meal every 2 hours or every 2.5 hours. It should be a really small meal. Then another principle is weight loss. A diabetic patient should always be keeping the body weight under control. So Guru Aptarpana, that is low calorie and high volume diet, would be suitable. That is taking a lot of roughage, taking a lot of complex carbohydrates will be the best thing. Then pro-agni, your metabolism has to be intact. You have to really take care of never to overeat. Overeating is the biggest blunder you can commit against diabetes or in any medical condition. Then you should be avoiding sugars, milk products, alcohol, and heavy meat. And the bottom line for diet modification will be never to eat without really being hungry. That is the one word we can advise to all from this diet modification chart.
Okay, there's a question coming up on the herbs. Someone is asking a question, what herbs, Ayurvedic herbs are good for diabetes? There's a question coming up. So I think the slide is right here at the same time.
Yeah, the best herbs mentioned by Ayurveda against diabetes are amlaki, Indian gooseberry, then turmeric or haridra or kurkuma is a wonderful herb against diabetes mellitus. Gugulu, then we have got the three pungent trikatu like black pepper, long pepper, and dry ginger. Then Arjuna, cinnamon, Gymnema sylvester. There are so many herbs which have got proven clinical efficacy against diabetes mellitus. These were mentioned by Ayurveda. There have been thousands of clinical trials, including two by me as well, where these herbs have been found to be very effective against diabetes. Cinnamon, fenugreek, bitter gourd, onions, garlic, ginger, turmeric, Gymnema sylvester. These are the most potent herbs which have got sugar lowering effect.
Okay. Any other questions on the herbs? We will be opening up the questions. You're welcome to ask questions during the webinar. That's not a problem because we just wanted to be a Q&A interactive session. What other lifestyle modifications that you would recommend to someone who is living with diabetes?
Yeah, there has to be, Ayurveda believes in some daily and seasonal regimen. That is, you should be having a very balanced daily routine, and the seasonal adaptation should be perfect. Ayurveda has got a very particular kind of protocol for this. The second point is you should be managing your urges. The most important thing in diabetes mellitus is if you are feeling like passing urine, if you are feeling any urge to pass urine, you should never withhold it. If you are like postponing it, okay, I'll be passing urine later on after a few hours, or I'm in a meeting, or anyhow you are postponing it. This habit to postpone or suppress these urges is very unhealthy, and especially for the diabetes, for the kidney problems, you have to have this habit never to withhold your urges, especially your nature's call to pass urine should never be withheld. You have to attend that immediately. Then physical and cardio activity is very much anti-diabetic. It can keep your blood sugar really under control because it will be making your muscles more like receptive to insulin action, and your more and more glucose will be utilized. Among the yogasanas, Paschimottanasana is very helpful than Bhujangasana. If some of you are practicing asanas, then they can very well know what is Paschimottanasana, which is a kind of backward stretching. Then Bhujangasana is again a kind of backward stretching. These are very helpful. Pranayama, Kapalbhati pranayama is very, very helpful because this would be moving your upper abdomen and the pancreatic area very rigorously, and you can produce really genuine and sufficient insulin through your pancreas. Then stress busting and meditation are very helpful because stress hormones are directly anti-insulin. They are pro-diabetic. They would be like shooting your blood sugar up. So you have to manage your stress, and surely your sugar levels would be coming down. Meditation helps in a great way against diabetes management. Okay. So these are the lifestyle modifications.
Sure. So you mentioned about panchakarma initially. So is there any particular type of panchakarma that's helpful for diabetes, or?
Yeah, if I give you a backdrop of what is panchakarma, see, over the time we keep on accumulating so many toxins because of wrong lifestyle, wrong diet, stress, because of our particular genetic makeup, because of aging, trauma, pollution, genetically modified food. So there is so much of onslaught, and we keep on accumulating toxins and toxins and toxins. And that is why the cancers which were coming up when we were like 70, 80 or 90 years of age, now those cancers are coming up when we are like 20, 30 or 40. Diabetes was very common after 60 years of age. Now this is very common at 20 years of age. So we are, with the current medical system, we are becoming weaker and more prone to diseases much earlier. And Ayurveda believes this accumulation of toxins over the time is the most important factor to bring illnesses to us. So Ayurveda has got a system of periodic detoxification. You should be detoxifying, you should be cleansing your body very regularly as a preventive tool. And if you have got a condition, you have got diabetes, then you should be going for panchakarma detoxification as and when advised by your Ayurveda doctor. And panchakarma means 5 procedures which are Vaman Virechan Vasti Nasya Rakmokshana. We will be detailing about it later on, maybe in Q&A session, what these 5 are. And these 5 procedures balance your Vata Pitta Kapha, and that is why these are very effective in treating not only diabetes, rather all medical conditions can be prevented and maybe managed or cured or improved by judicious use of panchakarma. So this is the most powerful tool Ayurveda has got.
That's great. All right. So I think these are just basic home remedies. I don't know if you want to mention a little bit about, some home remedies someone can do at home.
I can just go through and we can send these like presentations to the audience as well, like bitter gourd and holy basil, Indian gooseberry, turmeric, ginger, fenugreek. These are whatever herbs we have been discussing in this session. Those can be taken in many forms as juice or in cooking. Anyhow, you can use them. And one thing I would like to advise, most of the diabetes medicines or herbs should be taken 20 minutes before your meals, 20 minutes before your breakfast and 20 minutes before your dinner. Then these would be the most effective because of log and lag storage of insulin. So 20 minutes before your meals is the most ideal time, generally speaking.
Okay. So this is just a typical day routine, I think, just to...
Yeah, maybe we can begin with some detox tea, pranayama, massage with oil. Now, I would like to point out, massage with oil for a diabetes, the oil should be minimum and the rubbing should be maximum. So you should be going for a massage with less oil and more rubbing and more pressure. Then gratitude prayer, really being thankful, really would be de-stressing you and would keep your insulin levels high up and your stress levels under control, stress hormones under control. And your bedtime routine should be warm water with triphala and turmeric. Triphala and turmeric are the 2 best medicines for initial stages of diabetes, and rather can be taken all through your age. You know, if you're diabetic for a very long time, then also you can always keep taking triphala and turmeric. These would never fail you. Then forward bending, backward bending, various poses from yoga, stretching, foot massage, and again gratitude prayer can be your bedtime routine. Now foot massage will be very useful because feet are the most distant to your heart, and these are the first to take a blow from diabetes. That is, your blood circulation would be reducing in your toes first of all, which can lead to like diabetic foot or gangrene, which can lead to amputation, which can lead to losing your toes or even your foot or leg. So foot massage or proper care for your feet is very important.
Okay. So with that, I think we are open for questions, right? Is that okay, Dr. Ish? We open it up for questions and answers. So I'm going to stop sharing the slides, and if please let us know about the session. I've written our email as well. If you need to get in touch with us, we will be sending this presentation to everyone. So I'm going to open it up for questions right now. Okay, someone is asking, well, they asked about what are the herbs to treat diabetes, how to use them.
Okay. See, My suggestion would be, we did mention around like 10 herbs, and the
Yes.
best form to use them would be to take the whole herb powder. That will be the best thing. And those herbs will be bitter, astringent, and pungent. Surely those cannot be sweet. You cannot take a mango. Mango is a herb, but you cannot take it for diabetes. So herbs really would not be sweet. The bitter and pungent and astringent would be the best taste to treat your diabetes. You should not be taken away by the short-term convenience. Why to take a whole herb when I can take a pill? I can take a herbal pill. That will be very convenient, but that will not be effective. My suggestion to you is, you should be going for the whole herb powder. Normally 5 grams twice a day is a very general one size fit all kind of dosage, which can really suit to most. So whole herb powder is the best form to take it.
So you'll mix it like with the warm water, like take a little bit, 5 grams,
Yes.
and put it in the
Warm
water and
water, you
drink
can
it.
mix with some soup, or you can just take the dry powder and drink some warm water 20 minutes before your meal. Anyhow, you can just gulp it, you can just swallow it. So you should not try to observe its taste. Those surely might not be the most delicious, but you should go for the whole herb, because the fibers are the really key to ensure the success of these herbs. So complex fibers will be very helpful.
But you mentioned, so there's another question, following question is that you mentioned a lot of herbs, right? Almost 10 herbs. So now, if without any consultation, do you recommend that someone takes how many herbs? Like it's, someone is diabetes, that's also a bit very critical.
That is where we need individualized consultation, because that's a bit tricky. Like if you are a diabetic with some heart problem, then Arjuna is the best for you. If you're a diabetic with a lung problem, then cinnamon is the best for you. You're diabetic with repeated infections, then turmeric is the best for you.
Yes.
Amla or Indian gooseberry is best for all. So Gymnema sylvestra is good for all. So there are a few which are too generic and can be taken by all. There are a few which should be like condition specific. So I believe you should be going for a little consultation with an Ayurveda expert before you decide what will be your herb, out of 10 or 20 or 50, what 2 or 3 you will be taking. That should be like tailored, that should be customized here.
Yeah. So that's what we would recommend. Who's asking this question is that consultation would help you because that will be tailored to your personal needs. Otherwise, so many herbs are there, you don't want any reactions happening.
Yeah.
And what is the best food to eat and the foods to avoid? That's what someone is asking a question.
Will you come again? What is the best?
Food. I think we mentioned in the slide very briefly about the foods.
Okay.
You talked about the smaller, smaller portions.
Okay. If I repeat, the basic dietetic principles for a diabetic would be small frequent meals will be very important. The second would be high roughage. A lot of complex carbohydrates, a lot of roughage should be taken. If you're 40 plus, then proteins should be minimized. You should not be taking very high protein diet like soya bean or meat or fish or egg. You should not be taking. You should not drink animal milk. I very strongly suggest not to drink animal milk for diabetic or for any patient. Surely milk is a strong no. And again, maybe high fiber diet and low calorie, what we call a negative food. What is a negative food? It takes more calories than it gives. In the process of digestion, if it consumes more calories than it gives, then we call it a negative food. A negative food will be the most helpful. If it gives more calories than it takes to get digested, that is called a positive food. That surely will not be helpful. That would put on weight. And putting on weight, being overweight is a very strong like a negative factor for a diabetes patient. So weight should be checked through your correct diet modification.
So weight is very critical for them. And then complications, you mentioned a little bit about the complications about the feet. Can you elaborate a little bit? How do these complications occur? And suddenly you see the amputation and all those things is needed for diabetic, right?
Ayurveda has like 10,000 years back, Ayurveda has mentioned every complication. Diabetic neuropathy, Ayurveda has clearly mentioned. Diabetic infections, lowered immunity, diabetic heart disease, diabetic kidney disease, and maybe weakness, gangrene, repeated infections. Ayurveda mentioned everything. Now, how does it come? What happens is, as we like sweet things, we like sugar to eat. So do bacteria. So if your blood has got high sugar levels, bacteria love to grow over there, and that is how we catch infections very soon. Because a sweet blood is a very good culture medium for the bacteria. That is how we catch infections. Then excessive sugar in your blood would be depressing your nerve activity. Your nerves, through myoinositol, your nerves would be compromised and you would not be feeling pain, and you can develop diabetic foot, which can lead to amputation. Then as we gain weight after eating a lot of sweets, our blood vessels get thick because of excessive sugar available, and this is called basement membrane thickening. And when the blood vessels get thick, they become narrow. And when they are narrow, they do not ensure sufficient blood supply to the organs, and we undergo multiple organ failure through the mechanism called basement membrane thickening, which comes from excessive blood sugar. So that is how the diabetes complications come up.
So they don't take care of their diet, and they're taking way too much sugar, and then right? Mainly it's diet related, what you just said earlier as well.
Yeah. Okay. Diet is very important.
Okay. So someone is asking this question, what you mentioned about the massage, and is there any particular oil that they should use for massaging?
I believe, as I told earlier, they should be going for minimum oil and maximum rubbing, more pressure and less oil, almost dry massage should be there. So the oil, I would not be complicating it with many fancy oils what we have got in India. So keeping it simple, whatever oil you have got, you can use that oil, but that should be warm and that should be minimum, just to make your hands glide. That's all. You should not be having a lot of oil. It should be the minimum possible. It can be any oil.
So let's talk, you mentioned about the panchakarma, right? So maybe you can elaborate a little bit. Is there any particular therapy within the panchakarma that helps the diabetic person more than another one?
Yes. See, diabetes is a vata kapha disorder. If some of our audience are like they are aware with vata pitta kapha, then diabetes, what is diabetes? It is a lot of vata and kapha and low pitta. That is, your metabolism is compromised and your vata kapha are in excess. That is where Vamana is the first panchakarma which is very effective for diabetes. It is anti-kapha. So Vamana will be very effective because it is anti-kapha. And then enema. Enema is anti-vata. So Vamana and enema, that is Vasti, these two will be the most effective panchakarma from the list of 5.
So can you explain in a little bit simple way what Vamana is and what enema is for our audience?
Yeah. Vamana is a bit tricky panchakarma. This is very helpful. This is a kind of induced vomiting. We keep you on some medicine for 7 days. Then we call you one morning at like 6 o'clock in the morning. This cannot be done in the daytime or in the afternoon, in the evening, night. No, this can only be done as first thing in the morning. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock is the most ideal time. So we call the client at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then we give a massage, we give some steam, we give some herbs to drink, and then we give some like a decoction to drink. which makes the patient vomit. Patient, the client throws up a few times and the procedure is completed within 30 minutes. So this requires some sort of commitment, or like the patient really has to comply with it. The client has to comply. One has to really go through the procedure, which might not sound very likable, but this half an hour of rigorous vomiting, which would be detoxifying, which would be depleting your excessive like disease forming kapha, and that makes you very light, and your channels are open, your digestive fire goes up, your toxins are removed. That is the first panchakarma, vamana, or throwing up, or medicated vomiting, we can better call it.
Yeah.
And the last one, that is for vata, we have got enema. Enemas can be prepared with many herbs. We make some oil, we make some decoctions which can be given per rectal. And enema is the most powerful tool we have got, because we can really experiment with it. We can use hundreds of herbs, we can, among so many herbs, we have got 900 herbs. Among 900 herbs, we can select the best 2 or 3 for you. And we can make a really very particular combination for one diabetic or the other or the third one, the combination can be really different. We can make any combinations and those really can suit a particular person. These two are the most powerful panchakarma we have got against diabetes.
Okay. Any other questions from the audience? We are open for Q&A. This is meant to be a Q&A session with one of the top researcher in diabetes who has done clinical trials. So now is your chance to ask as many questions as you can. And we will be bringing, workshops. We are bringing workshops, more detailed workshops as well in September on different topics. So please feel free to give us feedback on that. So any other questions that anyone has from the audience right now? Okay, I think I don't see any other questions coming up. Any other comment that we can think of, Dr. Ish, that our viewers?
Yeah, maybe we can, I can.
Okay, someone asked herbs for herbal tea. Is there any particular herbs for herbal tea? You mentioned about in the morning you have an herbal tea. Someone is asking that.
Yeah, the best herbal tea would be tulasi, that is a holy basil, ginger, and cinnamon. These are the best herbs for, this can be the best herbal tea against diabetes mellitus.
So tulsi, basil, right? Basil, that's fine. Basil. Yeah, so that's available everywhere. Basil is available everywhere.
Basil, then ginger and cinnamon. These are the best herbs. Along maybe some curcuma can also be added to this tea.
So that's a turmeric tea, turmeric root. You think a root?
The turmeric powder. Turmeric powder, yeah.
Oh, turmeric powder. So organic turmeric powder in the morning.
Organic
with
powder, yeah.
Ginger and
cinnamon.
Yeah. Okay. So hope we answered this question. So you can prepare. This is a good home remedy. You can prepare it at home in the morning. All right. Somebody's asking this question. You mentioned about eliminating milk from the diet. Does this include all dairy products or just milk?
Primarily we are suggesting not to drink milk, but a diabetes person should by and large be avoiding as many dairy products as possible. So we suggest not to take any dairy product. That would be the best thing. Milk would be a very strong no, but otherwise all the dairy products should be minimized.
Okay. So what about buttermilk? Because, I've read a lot, and I think a lot of us have also read buttermilk as the Ayurveda nectar. So is that allowed for diabetic person?
Yeah, that would be the least harmful among the milk products. If I suggest, like, what is the one milk product that a diabetic patient can take, then the one milk product, like among ghee or cheese or yogurt or drinking milk or milk in coffee or milk in tea, or cottage cheese, among all the milk products, the best for diabetic would be this buttermilk.
I see. And buttermilk can easily be prepared at home, or it's also you can buy from the store. At least, I mean, we are in US. I find buttermilk everywhere, so people can do that as well wherever you are signing up from. All right. Any other comments and questions?
Yeah, the buttermilk, anything which is chilled, anything from refrigerator or anything
Yeah.
which is iced is a strong no for diabetic, because it's a vata kapha disorder. Both are cold. So even your buttermilk cannot come from a refrigerator. It has to be at a room temperature. It should be warm at body temperature.
Okay. Okay. So then freshly prepared meals, I'm assuming, like don't eat, pick up from the refrigerator and heat it
Yeah.
up, right? Those are pretty standard. Someone is asking, what are the best herbs to enhance the blood circulation?
Okay, good question. The best herbs to enhance blood circulation would be guglu, that is Commiphora mucul, is the best herb. Then we have got dry ginger and curcuma, that is turmeric. And then we have got shirish, we have got manjishta. These are the herbs which can be really like pro circulation. These remove the blockage from the blood circulation and can really be ensuring a good blood circulation.
Okay.
All the herbs which lower blood sugar are good for circulation.
Okay.
Because diabetes blocks your blood circulation.
Correct. So, but can someone take a small quantity by themselves at home, or they should also consult someone to take these?
These herbs are very safe. You can take small quantities at home, even without consultation, because these are the kitchen herbs. These are the kitchen medicines which we are using every day. These are not chemicals, so they won't be causing like complications or adverse effects as such.
Sure, but just monitor the quantity a little bit, right? Like you said, 5 grams. Anything in excess. Okay, all right. So any other questions? A lot of questions coming up for herbs. Any other questions coming up for Dr. Ish right now?
Maybe meanwhile, we can discuss about my clinical trials with diabetes mellitus.
Yes, I think that would be very useful. I do want people to know how you did so many clinical trials. That's
so I conducted 2 big clinical trials. One was with 60 patients, where the primary herbs which I gave was amlaki and turmeric, that is Indian gooseberry, amla and turmeric. These were given to the patients, and these were soaked overnight and given as a drink to the patient. 60 patients were selected, 31 were given this drink, and the other 31 were given placebo. And there were significant improvements among various parameters, among complications, your blood sugar levels, energy levels, sleep quality, or digestion quality. Things improved, and there was a very promising kind of outcome after consuming this turmeric and amlaki or Indian gooseberry. So these were this was the first clinical trial. The second one was with 100 patients of metabolic syndrome, or what we call like insulin resistance syndrome, or we call it syndrome X. That was the first clinical trial in India, where 100 patients were taken, and those were kept on Ayurveda herbs. A syndrome X patient would typically be having high blood pressure, high blood sugar, that is diabetes. He would be or she would be overweight, and there will be high cholesterol. Combination of 4 is called metabolic syndrome. And those were given a combination with again, there was this turmeric, amlaki, there was shankpushpi, there was sarpagandha, which is antihypertensive, and then there were a few more herbs which were symptomatically against syndrome X, and 50 patients were given these herbs, and the other 50 were kept as a placebo group. And again, the outcomes were significantly favoring the consumption of these this herbal combination of 9 herbs. So these were the 2 major clinical trials I conducted upon diabetic patients. And there have been many clinical trials, sporadic or like N of 1 studies, where we took like 1 patient, 2 patients, or a few patients at various times, So the clinical trials against diabetes mellitus with simple herbs and diet and lifestyle modifications have been really promising.
We can have a separate session on other topics, after this. Someone is asking, can the diabetic patients take herbal treatments and traditional medicines at the same time?
Yeah, that is how we typically begin. When a client comes to us and he or she is on some Western medicine, then we do not drop that medicine to begin with. He or she would be continuing with the Western prescription, and we would be adding some herbs and diet and lifestyle modifications, some panchakarma. Then we keep observing the blood sugar levels. When we are sure that one has adapted very well to lifestyle modifications, diet modifications, one has started taking a regular panchakarma and herbs, then we try to take off the Western medicine, because that is chemical, that is eventually going to damage the kidneys. So, and there have been many patients, many clients who finally are off their Western medicine, and they are managing their diabetes with a wonderful diet and lifestyle only. They are not even upon any Ayurveda herbs, So classically we begin with both, and we try to remove the Western medicine over the time.
Okay. Well, I hope this answers the question. And the other question is, can you do online consultations, Dr.
Yeah, we
Ish?
do that. That is where, like we have got like maybe 50, 60 herbs which are anti-diabetic. So what would be your like set? What 3 or 4 you will be taking? We can finalize after a personal consultation only. So surely we can.
Okay. And then the herbs are, do you also supply the herbs, or they can buy it from their local, wherever they are in the US or anywhere else?
This depends, like ginger or turmeric or black pepper, etc. These are available everywhere. So we can advise the best possible herbs to you. And are those available in your area or not? That is a secondary question.
Of course.
But we can manage that. That is not a big issue at all.
Okay. All right. So hope we have answered all your questions from the audience. Any other questions before we wrap up? I just do want to give everyone a chance to please ask as many questions as possible. We can also do our 2-hour workshops. We are actually coming up with 2-hour workshops next month on different topics. If you would like to see a 2-hour workshop, that would be won't be free, but it would be very nominal amount. We are happy to do that on diabetes or as well. So please let us know. Okay. Any other final comments or questions? I just want to wait a moment. Sometimes, people are thinking about any other things that we should cover, Dr. Ish, today.
I can add maybe as a final comment. Okay. We have seen that many clients are not responding like very well to the Western medication. They are taking medicine, their dosage are increasing. Doctors are telling like take more and more, because you're not responding to the Western medicine. Then either you are given insulin injections, or you are given a combination of 3, 4, 5 medicines, also 3, 4, 5 chemical medicines.
Yes.
If such a client comes to us, many times we have seen, if you couple your Western treatment with herbs or diet and lifestyle modifications from Ayurveda, then the same chemical medicines are seen to be more effective in your sugar control. And even eventually, if you are very religious, you are very serious with your diet and lifestyle, then eventually we can withdraw the Western medicine totally. This is also quite possible. So
that gives a lot of hope. That gives a lot of hope for people who are suffering, who have diabetes, can get off insulin as well, right? That's what you're saying.
Correct.
And you've seen that happen in your practice.
This is a very routine practice, because India has got so many diabetic patients. Yes. And this is a very routine practice what we are doing.
On a daily basis, basically.
On a daily basis. Counseling is very important. You have to counsel, you have to change the mindset of the client is very important. You have to involve them. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I think you give a lot of hope for our viewers. I see viewers from Middle East. I see viewers from US who have joined us today, and also from Europe. You are welcome to contact us. I've written our contact email. If you want to consult, you're welcome to do that. And if you want some more educational sessions, like I said, we are bringing them every week on different topics, but we will be starting with the workshops as well. So I just do want everyone to know. With that, I would like to wrap up. Dr. Ish, thank you so much. Any final line from you before I wrap up? Anything?
Maybe, yeah, I wish all the best to all the listeners, and I believe we really can check diabetes, whatever we can do, and let's make a serious effort to control this pandemic. This really is a global issue. This is much bigger than COVID-19. So we surely have to be more committed to this. And I thank you, Amita, for organizing the session. And I believe this was helpful to some of them, some of the clients, some of the audience. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ish, for joining us again.
Okay.
Namaste. Thank you, the viewers. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.